I'm honored to be here, and it's really exciting to me to see the energy in this room. And we came yesterday. My wife Pam has joined me, and got to spend a little time with the continuing education, and then all the booth and the energy, and a great dinner last night. And I get the opportunity to come to a number of different associations. I have not been to this one, but I want to congratulate you for the energy and the enthusiasm and the passion that I feel with all of you. So it's an honor for me to be here to represent our great company, but also as a forester. It was mentioned by Chris that I am a forester, and that's true. I graduated from the University of Missouri 42 years ago, so back in 1974. But it's a bunch of people like you, as well as of hundreds of foresters that work in our organization, that inspired me to go back and see if I could pass the certified forester exam this past year. And my wife looked at me like I was crazy. She said, "Yeah, I mean, yes, you are a forester, but it's been a long time since you've done the math and all that jazz." So, but I said, I want to do it. I want to inspire my other coworkers and young foresters in our team to do so. And somehow I made it happen. So I'm proud of that, and that's why I'm speaking about it a little bit today. There's a clicker someplace. So from a career standpoint, I'm going to spend just a minute on this because there's many business owners and we'll say mature leaders in our industry here, but there's also some younger people that are more on the front end of their career. And I want to just make the point that it doesn't always turn out the way you thought it was going to. And when I grew up in Southwest Missouri, and yes, graduated from the University of Missouri with a degree in forest management, and then trying to figure out what trees I was going to manage, I had no clue that I would ultimately be a part of leading a $14-15 billion company. So the point of that is set your sights high, work hard, be honest, treat people well, and make good choices. And along the way, you're going to make some bad choices. When you do, just try to make a good one quickly thereafter, because there's still a lot of runway ahead. But my career's been a great one. Yes, I was a field forester out in the Pacific Northwest, managing Douglas fir timberlands in the west slope of the Cascades, and wow, that was a great first job. Learned a tremendous amount. Later came back to the Midwest and was supplying the wood raw material to a mill in Michigan, and across the road was the paper mill. And I would come in the morning occasionally, not often, but there'd be a pile of wood chips on my desk that supposedly the pulp mill superintendent couldn't make pulp out of. And it's like, wow, it's wood, right? I mean, you guys ever have that happen to you? And so that told me I want that guy's job, and once I got over in that mill side of the business, then it kind of has gone on from there. Later, go back to business school, right? So we need to continue our education, and I'm sure many of you all have done the same thing, and the continuing education that we had the chance to experience yesterday was a great example. So continue to invest yourself. We can never learn enough, and then ultimately keep setting your sights high. So I've had a delightful career, and I'm very proud to represent our industry and our company. Also want to acknowledge our foresters that are here with us today. This front row, except for my wife Pam, who has joined us, but Kevin Hudson in the blue shirt leads our global forest resources process as Senior Vice President. Other foresters are Alabama. I want to particularly acknowledge Ben Smith. Ben leads our Mart, Alabama region and just does a wonderful job for our company. But even more importantly, and I told him this last night, I'm so proud of him for stepping up and contributing to this association. This whole thing doesn't happen without leadership, and people like yourselves, people like Ben for investing his personal time and being willing to deal with all of the complexities of getting consensus on issues and policy and making those kinds of things. And so we're quite proud of you, Ben, and want to thank you, and I hope that same concept inspires you all as you think about how you give back to our industry. I'm also a private landowner, as Craig said, and my partner's my wife, and we have 2,100 acres in coastal South Carolina. practicing intensive loblolly silviculture, and John Pate, a lot of the science he was sharing yesterday with respect to those genetics, we're right there with him. We're trying to get every little last elk out of those pine trees, but we have a tremendous amount of fun. The reason I put this slide up here, though, is that I want to pitch a bit the American Tree Farm program. My wife and I are involved in that in a significant way, both personally and as we encourage our company to contribute to that organization, both with resources of time and money. But the private landowner base in our country is the foundation for our forest resource. And there are large commercial forests that we all have been a part of as an industry. And the big numbers, we've talked about Craig's couple million acres, and certainly Plum Creek, Weyerhaeuser, et cetera. The companies have accumulated large timberlands, but the largest landowner in this country is you and the private landowner base, and we have to help support those landowners with resources and inspiration and leadership, and so I hope you all will also help perpetuate the success of the American Forest Foundation and American Tree Farm program. So, a little bit about our company. Many of you may not even know who Westrock is. It's kind of somewhat of a new company that's been the genesis of several consolidations over time. And I know when I joined Rock 10 back in 2008, I was president of Southern Container Corporation, which was the largest independent corrugated packaging producer. And we had a large recycled paper mill that we built up in Syracuse, New York. And Southern Container was a very successful company, but we needed a succession plan. And so we picked Rock 10 to join back in 2008. Rock 10 was a principally recycled folding carton company, and we had also bought Gulf States. So we had the Demopolis, Alabama bleach board mill, as well as their portfolio of folding carton plants, but it really didn't have a presence in corrugated packaging, which our company saw was a much larger market and one that we thought over time would continue to grow. So we were quite proud to join Rock 10 at that time. I reflect 2007, Rock 10 had $2.3 billion in sales, and I think our EBITDA, our cash flow, was about $280 million. Since that time, they supported our corrugated team to acquire Smurfit Stone Container, obviously a big step change. And then, of course, of late, we have merged with Midwest Vaco. So Rock 10, Midwest Vaco equals Westrock, and today we're north of $14 billion and trailing 12 months EBITDA, a little north of $2.2 billion in free cash flow, and invest $800 million or so a year back into our plants. So the company has grown dramatically, approximately 40,000 coworkers working around the globe, and our number one or number two in the places we play, which is in packaging paper grades or packaging, either folding cartons or corrugated packaging. So we built a very nice company. We're laser beam focused on fiber-based packaging and retail solutions, and trying to create solutions that differentiate us from our competitors. What we're trying to accomplish is a differentiated solution. Wood, trees, packaging can often try to get channeled into a commoditized place. We don't think packaging is commoditized at all. We put a lot of energy into trying to apply innovation and unique capabilities via science or design or print or the supply chain. How do we create solutions that help our large consumer products companies compete and win in the markets they serve? These are companies like Procter & Gamble, Unilever, Kraft Foods. Every one of the large multinational consumer products companies are our customers, and we need to find solutions that help them to compete and win in their markets. That's our focus. The focus, though, is on those grades that relate to packaging. You can see our portfolio of paper products. We make all of the bleach board, virgin, recycled, folding carton, box board, beverage, packaging grades. And we also make all of the corrugated packaging substrates. We do make a little bit of pulp, both fluff pulp, which is an absorbency product used in diapers and absorbency products like that. And we have a large recycling business where we recycle approximately 8 million tons. We're one of the largest recycler of fiber-based packaging in North America, as well as the Forest Resource Organization that procures about 35 million tons in the U.S. and another, 2 or 3 in Brazil. So a large landscape. And that gets converted into every kind of fiber-based package that touch your lives. Literally 95% of everything, whether it's this bottle or most of the stuff that you use every single day, goes in a fiber-based package, and that's the center of our bat and what drives us every day. And we think globally, fiber-based packaging continues to grow. 1-2% U.S., 3-4% globally, and that's been happening for the last 50 years. So I often say that I think the fiber-based package is the most incredible product on the planet, because I don't know too many things that have grown 2-3-4% for the last 50 years. Think about that one. And it all comes from trees. So we're quite proud of our industry. We're both a virgin fiber company as well as a recycled company. We produce about 13 million tons of our paper products, and it's balanced about 60% virgin or about 40% recycled. So we live in both places, and we have a segment of our markets that desire recycled paper and recycled packaging, and there are some that say we want only recycled packaging, and I look them in the eye and I say, look, where do you think this comes from? I was at a customer one time that said, our CEO has told us, it was a European company, our CEO has told us that in the next 5 years, 100% of everything we make is going to be recycled. And I look at him and say, how are you going to do this? How is this going to be sustainable for the next 100 years? Where do you think this recycled fiber comes from? And they kind of eyes glaze over. But we believe a balance is the right answer, and that's where we live. Large portfolio of mills, largely east half North America, balanced between virgin and recycled. We do have one out in Tacoma, Washington, that's a virgin white top linerboard mill. We're also have a large position in Brazil with a nice portfolio of timberland, as well as a state-of-the-art virgin containerboard mill and a portfolio of corrugated packaging operations. We are the largest producer of containerboard in India. And let me tell you, that's heavy lifting over there. It's a big country, but it's developing, to say the least. Quick slide on Brazil. I don't know how many of you have been to Brazil, but if you ever get a chance, go. Let me tell you what, those loblolly pine grow in Brazil. We've got about 135,000 acres and genetics that we've been exploring and optimizing for the last 60 years. And it's incredible, a bunch of science that's being applied to improving loblolly pine in that region, and eucalyptus. We're now growing eucalyptus at about a 5-year rotation, and it's pretty fascinating. So as I think about today, Alabama is a very important part of Westrock's portfolio. We have 3 big mills, Mart, Alabama, Demopolis, Alabama, Stevenson, Alabama. We have 2 sawmills, and then we have 5 packaging operations, both producing corrugated packaging, folding cartons, and beverage. So Alabama is an extremely important part of our portfolio. We invest approximately $100 million a year back into our plants. In fact, we've been ahead of that over the last couple of years as we put $100 million into new biomass boiler in Demopolis and $50 million into our Stevenson, Alabama mill to improve our pulp mill. And we are very bullish on Alabama, and we thank you all for supporting us both from a fiber procurement, but also creating a friendly place to do business. So as I wrap up, I want to just commit to you that Westrock continues to be very invested in this state in order to try to create healthy markets that can provide sources for your products, and we are willing to be partners with you in any way possible in order to help try to create an increasingly strong place to do business and to ensure that we have a responsibly managed forest and healthy timberland base. And so we are your partners, and we will do our share, and we thank you for the opportunity to do so. As I wrap, I want to share that I love my business, I love what I do, but I also love my timberland, and I can't wait until I can get to South Carolina this weekend. It's not Alabama, but it's close, to go out on our land and enjoy the fruits of both growing those pine trees and also the beautiful animals that live out there. So thank you. It's an honor to be here.